The Calm Conqueror, Master Emotions, Master Success, by Imperium Audiobook. Introduction. There's a quiet kind of power that doesn't shout, doesn't rush, and doesn't need to prove itself. It moves through storms with steady eyes. It walks through chaos with unshaken faith. It feels everything, yet chooses its response with precision. That power is calm. And those who master it don't just survive life's battles. They conquer them. Welcome to the Calm Conqueror. Master Emotions, Master Success, a journey into the inner world that determines everything you experience on the outside. Because here's the truth. Life doesn't break you because of what happens. It breaks you when you can't manage how you respond to what happens. Your success, relationships, focus, and peace, they're all reflections of your emotional mastery. In this audiobook, you won't just learn how to control your emotions. You'll learn how to channel them, how to turn anger into action, fear into focus, pain into purpose, doubt into drive. You'll learn how to stay unshaken when everything around you demands a reaction, how to build a kind of inner strength that makes people wonder how you stay so composed when others are falling apart. Each chapter in this book is a blueprint, a standalone piece of wisdom designed to help you reconnect with your calm, rebuild your confidence, and rewire your emotional habits. Not through force, but through awareness. Because emotional mastery isn't suppression, it's strategy. It's knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to act and when to wait, when to hold the line and when to walk away. You're not here to become emotionless. You're here to become unbreakable. And by the end of this journey, you'll understand something most people never realize. That calm isn't weakness, it's control. That the most powerful person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one who can keep their peace when everyone else is losing theirs. So get ready to master the most important battlefield of all, your mind. Because when you master your emotions, you master your life. Chapter 1. Emotional Awareness. Seeing the storm before it starts. Before a storm arrives, the sky gives signs, the air thickens, the clouds shift, the birds go silent. But most people never notice until the thunder strikes. The same is true with emotions. Anger doesn't appear out of nowhere. Anxiety doesn't just visit unannounced. Sadness doesn't suddenly flood the mind. They all send signals long before they take over. But unless you're aware, you'll keep mistaking reaction for reality, believing emotions control you, when in truth, they're only asking to be understood. Emotional awareness is not about being perfect. It's about being present. It's learning to recognize what you feel when you feel it and why you feel it, before it controls your words, your energy, and your outcomes. The truth is, emotions are not enemies. They're messengers. Every emotion carries a message, a lesson, a signal, or a warning. Anger tells you that something you value feels violated. Fear tells you something needs preparation. Sadness shows you what you care about. Jealousy exposes what you secretly desire. When you stop fighting your emotions and start decoding them, you begin to master them. High performers don't avoid emotions. They study them. They understand that awareness is the first stage of mastery. Because you can't control what you don't understand. Imagine this. You're in the middle of a heated argument. Your body tenses. Your heartbeat spikes. Your tone sharpens. But before you speak, you notice it. You catch the emotion before it catches you. That single moment of awareness gives you the power to choose your response instead of reacting impulsively. That's what emotional intelligence looks like. Power disguised as pause. The world rewards emotional control. It's the hidden edge of every leader, every negotiator, every visionary. Because while others drown in emotional noise, the calm conqueror listens deeper. He doesn't just feel emotions, he observes them. Awareness turns chaos into clarity. When you learn to watch your emotions without judgment, you build inner distance, space between what happens and how you respond. And in that space lies all your strength, all your wisdom, all your growth. Start practicing this awareness daily. When you feel stressed, don't just react, observe. When you're excited, notice what triggered it. When you're angry, ask what boundary feels crossed. Name the emotion, describe it, feel it, then let it pass. The goal is not suppression, it's recognition. The more you recognize your emotions, the less they sneak up on you. the less they control your tone, your choices, your peace. Think of your emotions like weather patterns. You can't stop the rain, but you can carry an umbrella. You can't prevent the wind, but you can sail with it. Awareness doesn't stop emotions from arising. It gives you tools to navigate through them with grace. Every time you choose to pause, you're retraining your nervous system. You're teaching your mind that you're in charge now, that emotions can flow, but they can't flood you. This awareness becomes your foundation for composure, confidence, and control. Because when you can see the storm before it starts, you don't get caught in it. You stand still, steady, and ready. And in that stillness, you become unshakable. The calm conqueror doesn't wait for emotions to vanish. He learns to walk through them untouched. Because once you can recognize your inner storms without being swept away, you unlock the first gate to true emotional mastery. Chapter 2. The Art Response. Turning emotion into power. Most people lose battles they could have won, not because they lacked intelligence, but because they reacted too fast. They spoke in anger, moved in fear, or froze in doubt. The truth is, reaction is natural, response is intentional. And the difference between the two is where your power begins. The calm conqueror doesn't fight emotion with emotion. He slows the moment down. He observes, breathes, and chooses a path that serves him, not sabotages him. Because in every emotional surge lies a decision. Either you rise above or you get pulled below. Think of how often emotions have stolen opportunities from you. Maybe you said something in frustration that cost you trust. Maybe fear kept you from taking a chance that could have changed your life. Maybe pride stopped you from apologizing when it mattered most. Every reaction has a price. Every response carries potential. The art of response begins with awareness. That pause between the feeling and the action. It's that sacred second where you notice the rush of adrenaline, the quickening pulse, the tightening chest, and you choose calm. You decide not to be the storm but the one who sails through it. Powerful people are rarely the loudest in the room. They're composed because they understand something deeper. Energy wasted on reaction is energy stolen from direction. They don't let emotion hijack logic. They harness it to fuel clarity. When something triggers you, pause and breathe. Ask yourself, what's really happening here? Is this worth my peace? Will this matter in 5 hours, 5 days, or 5 years? That single reflection often reveals that what felt urgent was just emotional noise. Mastering response doesn't mean being passive. It means acting with purpose. If someone disrespects you, responding calmly doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. You preserve your power. You choose your words like currency. You refuse to give your peace to people who haven't earned your energy. Emotionally reactive people are predictable. Calm conquerors are not. And unpredictability is power. When people can't read your reaction, they can't manipulate your state. You control the tempo. You control the energy. You control the outcome. Imagine a heated meeting. Everyone's voices rise. Opinions clash. Tension thickens. Most jump in, try to dominate. But the calm one listens, watches, waits. When he finally speaks, his words land with precision because they're not emotional. They're intentional. That's what emotional authority feels like. You don't need to overpower anyone. Your composure speaks louder than any outburst ever could. The calm conqueror isn't emotionless. He's emotionally strategic. He channels anger into action. He turns fear into focus. He transforms doubt into discipline. Every emotion becomes fuel for movement, not a wall that stops it. This is how leaders lead. Not by suppressing what they feel, but by shaping it. By using emotion as energy to drive progress instead of chaos. When you respond instead of react, you send a message to your subconscious. I am in control. Over time, that message rewires your identity. You stop being a slave to your moods. You start walking through pressure like it's familiar terrain. Think about the times you've lost control, shouted, panicked, retreated. How long did it take to repair the damage? Now think about the moments you stayed calm. How much stronger did you feel? That's not luck. That's mastery in motion. To practice the art response, build rituals. When tension rises, inhale deeply. Name the emotion. Ask what it's teaching you. Delay your reply by 10 seconds if needed. Write before you speak. Reflect before you act. Every pause is a small victory, proof that you can rise above the impulse. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about caring intelligently. It's about making emotions serve your purpose, not sabotage it. When you learn to respond with grace under fire, people notice. They trust you. They follow your lead. Because in a world addicted to reaction, calm is magnetic. Your greatest strength isn't in never feeling. It's in never folding. The world will test your patience, push your buttons, and provoke your peace. But every test is training. Every challenge is a classroom for self-control. Don't let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. Don't let one heated moment burn bridges you might need tomorrow. Instead, breathe, reflect, and move deliberately. Because once you master the art of response, nothing external can control your internal world again. You stop being a puppet of circumstance and become the author of your experience. The Calm Conqueror's strength is not that he avoids storms. It's that he walks through them with his crown still on. He doesn't rush to react. He chooses to respond. And in that choice lies every ounce of his power. Chapter 3. The Power of Stillness, Winning Without Noise. The world today confuses motion with progress. People chase, scroll, talk, and compete, as if speed alone proves purpose. But here's the truth most never realize until they're exhausted. Movement without alignment is noise. And noise, no matter how loud, doesn't build peace, clarity, or success. Stillness is not weakness. It's strength under control. It's the ability to hold your center when everything around you spins. It's the rare calm of someone who knows where they're going and doesn't need to prove it every second of the journey. Every conqueror who's ever risen beyond chaos mastered the art of stillness. Because in stillness, you see what rushing minds miss. You notice patterns, read people, sense opportunities, and most importantly, you hear your intuition speak. We live in a generation that fears silence. We fill every pause with sound. Playlists, conversations, distractions, anything to avoid meeting our thoughts head-on. But silence is where truth lives. It's in the quiet that you discover what actually matters, what's draining you, and what your next move should be. The Calm Conqueror doesn't rush to respond, doesn't panic under pressure, and doesn't compete for attention. He moves like water, fluid, deliberate, and precise. He understands that power grows in patience, and clarity comes from calm. You can't solve a problem from the same chaos that created it. Stillness is your reset button, the space where emotion settles, logic clears, and perspective expands. It's not about doing nothing. It's about pausing long enough to do the right thing. Think about how many mistakes are born from noise, sending that angry message, making that desperate call, forcing a decision just to escape discomfort. If you had paused, breathed, waited, you might have seen a completely different outcome. Stillness isn't laziness. It's intelligence refusing to be rushed. When you cultivate stillness, your energy shifts. You stop reacting to everything around you. You stop explaining yourself to everyone. You start operating from clarity, not chaos. People begin to feel your peace before they hear your words. That's when you know you've tapped into something rare. Quiet confidence. Stillness is also how you reconnect with yourself. In quiet reflection, you remember your values. You remember why you started. You realign your ambition with purpose, your drive with peace. Without stillness, you can build a successful life that still feels empty. But when you build from a quiet mind, everything you create feels stable because it's grounded in truth. Some of the world's most powerful leaders, artists, and thinkers had one thing in common: solitude. They stepped away from the crowd to listen to the world within. Because clarity doesn't shout, it whispers. And you can only hear it when the noise dies down. Stillness gives birth to strategy. It turns impulse into intention, emotion into insight, and uncertainty into wisdom. The Calm Conqueror doesn't just react to life. He designs it. He knows that every great victory is first won in silence, long before it's seen by the world. You don't need to prove your worth by being busy. You don't need to post every win or respond to every critic. Your peace is not a performance. It's a discipline. And in a world addicted to noise, your stillness becomes your advantage. Practice it daily. Wake up early and sit with your thoughts. Put your phone down for 1 hour and just observe your mind. Before major decisions, retreat into silence. Let the noise fade and the truth rise. The answer you've been chasing might already be inside you. You just haven't been still enough to hear it. Stillness doesn't mean you stop moving. It means you stop moving blindly. You begin to move with awareness, precision, and peace. You become intentional instead of impulsive. And when that happens, your life starts to flow effortlessly, powerfully, and in alignment with your purpose. Remember this. Storms are loud, but the roots that survive them are silent. The wind makes noise, but the mountain doesn't move. That's the essence of mastery. Quiet dominance. The calm conqueror doesn't compete for attention. He commands it. He doesn't fight to be seen. His presence is felt. And that presence is born not from arrogance, but from inner peace, from the stillness that keeps him unshaken no matter what the world throws his way. Stillness is not the absence of power. It's its highest form. Because when you can stay calm in chaos, the chaos can no longer control you. Chapter 4. Emotional Energy. How to protect, recharge, and refocus your inner power. Every morning you wake up with a limited amount of energy, mental, emotional, and physical. How you spend it determines everything. Your mood, productivity, confidence, and peace. But most people lose their energy before the day even begins, leaking it through stress, overthinking, and emotional noise. The truth is, success isn't just about what you do. It's about what you protect. You can't pour into your goals if your spirit is constantly drained. You can't lead others when your own mind feels scattered. You can't show up strong when your emotions are pulled in every direction. Your emotional energy is your inner currency. And if you don't learn to manage it, life will manage it for you through burnout, resentment, or exhaustion. The calm conqueror understands this. He treats his emotional energy like gold, guarding it, refilling it, and investing it where it multiplies. He knows that the more balanced his inner state, the more powerful his outer results. Let's start with the first rule of mastery: protection. Every interaction, thought, and environment either gives or takes energy. Some people leave you lighter, inspired, focused. Others leave you drained, irritated, or confused. Learn to recognize the difference. Not everyone deserves access to your peace. You have the right to protect your energy without apology. You're not being cold. You're being conscious. Set boundaries. Limit time with people who constantly unload negativity. Choose conversations that add value, not ones that steal clarity. Guarding your peace doesn't mean isolation. It means direction. You choose where your emotional fuel goes. Because every yes to chaos is a no to focus. Next, the calm conqueror recharges deliberately. He doesn't wait until burnout to rest. He understands that rest is part of the strategy, not the end of it. Rest isn't laziness. It's leadership. It's stepping back to renew the mind so it can return sharper, stronger, and more creative. True rest is more than sleep. It's emotional release. It's unplugging from digital noise, taking a quiet walk, reflecting, praying, journaling, or spending time with people who refuel your soul. You can't heal in the same environment that drains you. So make it a habit to step out, mentally or physically. That moment of stillness, that hour of silence, that day of distance, it's not wasted time. It's restoration time. Finally, the calm conqueror refocuses his emotional energy. Every day, distractions compete for attention. Deadlines, notifications, expectations. If you don't control your focus, everything around you will. And focus is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most with the best of your energy. Ask yourself daily, where is my energy going today? Who or what truly deserves it? Am I reacting or directing? The calm conqueror doesn't start his day reacting to chaos. He begins with clarity. He sets his tone intentionally through meditation, gratitude, planning, or quiet reflection. Because how you start your day often dictates how it ends. You probably notice this. On the days you rush out, checking messages before you even breathe, your energy feels off. You're chasing the day instead of commanding it. But when you begin grounded, centered in thought and gratitude, everything flows smoother. That's not luck. That's emotional alignment in action. Energy is contagious. Your emotional tone transfers to your environment, your team, your family. When you walk into a room anxious, you spread it. When you walk in calm, others feel it. So choose what energy you give, because it always comes back multiplied. Protecting your emotional energy is not selfish. It's sacred. You can't pour from an empty cup, but you can overflow from a full one. Every time you say no to what drains you, you're saying yes to what grows you. Every time you choose peace over pressure, you're reminding yourself, I lead from within. The world teaches you to chase goals, wealth, validation, but few teach you to sustain. Sustainability begins with energy mastery, and the Calm Conqueror knows. When your inner power is stable, you can withstand any storm. When you feel scattered, pause and ask, where did my energy go today? Trace it, reclaim it, redirect it. Your energy is your life's compass. When it's balanced, your path becomes clear. Protect it fiercely. Recharge it daily. Refocus it intentionally. Because the Calm Conqueror doesn't burn out. He burns bright. His peace becomes his productivity. His energy becomes his empire. And through that mastery, he wins without chaos every single time. Chapter 5. The Stoic Advantage. Staying grounded when life gets heavy. Life will test you, not once, but constantly. It will push your patience, question your values, and challenge your peace. And in those moments, your emotional mastery isn't proven by how calm you are when everything's easy, but by how composed you remain when everything feels heavy. That's where the Stoic Advantage comes in. The art of remaining grounded while the world around you shakes. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being unmoved by chaos. Because the Calm Conqueror knows this truth. You cannot control what happens, but you can always control how you respond to it. Modern life is built on pressure, bills, expectations, deadlines, comparisons. And if you're not careful, you'll let life dictate your mood instead of your mindset. But Stoicism flips the script. It teaches that peace isn't found in control. It's found in surrender, not to weakness, but to wisdom. You can't stop the rain, but you can choose to walk through it with dignity. You can't stop people from misunderstanding you, but you can choose to remain kind anyway. You can't prevent failure, but you can choose to grow from it rather than be broken by it. That's the Stoic way. Calm in emotion, firm in value, and grounded in truth. The Calm Conqueror doesn't panic when life shifts. He adjusts. He doesn't fight every storm. He adapts his sails. He understands that frustration comes not from events, but from expectations. The moment you accept that life won't always go your way, and that this is not punishment but preparation, your stress begins to fade. Life is not against you. It's sculpting you. Every delay strengthens patience. Every challenge builds endurance. Every disappointment teaches perspective. What hurts you today may be the very thing that hardens your steel for tomorrow. The Stoic mind doesn't complain. It learns. It doesn't chase validation. It seeks meaning. It doesn't crumble under pressure. It converts pressure into precision. When people criticize, the Stoic listens for truth, not ego. When failure arrives, he extracts a lesson and keeps moving. When life tests him, he answers with calm because he knows storms don't last, but character does. This calmness isn't denial, it's dominance. It's standing in your center, no matter how loud the world becomes. It's saying, I refuse to let external chaos dictate my internal peace. Remember this. Pain is not your enemy. Resistance builds strength. No one grows by staying comfortable. The discomfort you feel now is the training that will make you unstoppable later. There's a reason ancient warriors meditated before battle, not to avoid fear, but to master it. Because courage is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to act despite it. Likewise, peace is not the absence of problems. It's stability in the middle of them. Practice stillness daily, especially in difficulty. When you're overwhelmed, don't rush to fix everything. Breathe, observe, think. When emotions rise, don't lash out. Listen to what they're teaching you. When you're wrong, don't seek revenge. Rise in restraint. That's strength in its purest form. People often mistake stillness for weakness, but those who are loudest are usually the most fragile. The Calm Conqueror speaks little, moves intentionally, and radiates stability. Because real power doesn't shout. It stands still. There's a deep beauty in being unbothered, not in arrogance, but in understanding. You realize that you don't need to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. You don't need to control outcomes, only your effort and attitude. That's freedom. And freedom is the ultimate advantage. The Stoic advantage means you stop wasting energy on things beyond your control. You stop trying to fix people who don't want change. You stop taking things personally that were never about you. Instead, you invest that energy back into growth, peace, and purpose. The calm conqueror doesn't resist life. He flows with it. He doesn't fear pain. He learns from it. He doesn't run from uncertainty. He walks into it with faith that clarity will follow. When life feels heavy, remember, your emotions are waves, not walls. Let them rise. Let them fall. But never let them drown your focus. Be steady in your purpose. Be patient in your process. Be strong in your silence. Because the calm conqueror's true strength lies not in controlling the storm, but in becoming the eye of it. And when you master that, you don't just survive chaos. You redefine what power looks like. Chapter 6, Emotional Alchemy, Turning Pain into Power. Every person you admire, every success story that inspires you, every leader who walks with quiet confidence, they've all carried pain. Not just moments of it, but seasons of it. The difference between those who break under it and those who rise because of it is what they do with it. Pain is energy, raw, potent, unrefined. Left unmanaged, it becomes bitterness, anger, or apathy. But when you learn to transform it, when you turn it into fuel, pain becomes your sharpest tool for growth. That transformation is what we call emotional alchemy, the art of turning struggle into strength. The calm conqueror understands this deeply. He doesn't waste his suffering. He studies it. He asks, what is this teaching me? Instead of why me? He realizes that pain isn't punishment. It's preparation, a signal that something within him is ready to evolve. Think about it. The moments that shaped you the most weren't the easy ones. They were the heartbreaks that taught you self-worth, the failures that built resilience, the losses that showed you what truly matters. Pain, when viewed through purpose, refines you into someone wiser, stronger, and more disciplined. Most people run from pain. They numb it with distractions, avoid it with excuses, or bury it under busyness. But the calm conqueror doesn't run. He sits with it. He faces it with courage and says, if this is here, it's here to teach me. Because pain avoided grows stronger, but pain embraced loses its control. The secret is not to escape pain, but to extract wisdom from it. Ask yourself, what is this situation trying to show me about myself? What patterns am I being forced to confront? What strength is being built in me right now? When you begin to see pain as a messenger, you stop fighting life and start flowing with it. And in that flow, transformation begins. Emotional alchemy is not instant. It's a process. At first, the pain feels unbearable. You can't make sense of it. You question everything. Then slowly, clarity begins to form. The lessons appear. You start understanding why certain things had to end, why certain people had to leave, why certain failures had to happen. And then one day, you wake up realizing that pain didn't destroy you. It rebuilt you. Look back on your life. Every setback that once felt like an ending was actually an opening, a redirection. Pain is the universe's way of clearing paths you would have never abandoned on your own. Emotional alchemy means converting that energy into motion. Instead of drowning in what went wrong, you channel it into what comes next. You use heartbreak as motivation to love yourself deeper. You use rejection as drive to improve your skill. You use loss as fuel to live with purpose. Every emotion, anger, sadness, regret, carries energy. You get to decide what that energy becomes. Anger can become art. Sadness can become empathy. Disappointment can become discipline. That's alchemy in action. Transformation through awareness. When you shift from victim to student, your pain becomes your power. You stop asking for easier roads and start building stronger legs. You realize that the greatest version of you doesn't come from comfort. It's forged in adversity. The calm conqueror walks differently because he carries lessons where others carry grudges. He's not untouched by pain, he's untamed by it. He's proof that what was meant to break, you can actually build your foundation if you choose to rise from it. Understand this. Pain is not a lifetime sentence. It's a signal that something inside you needs to evolve. Let it refine your patience, deepen your empathy, and strengthen your resolve. Don't rush your healing. Build through it. Because healing isn't forgetting what happened. It's remembering without the weight. True mastery comes when you stop defining yourself by what hurt you and start defining yourself by how you grew from it. You stop saying, "This broke me," and start saying, "This built me." Every scar tells a story, not a weakness, but a survival. And survival is the language of strength. Pain can either poison you or polish you. It depends on how you hold it. The calm conqueror holds it with awareness, molds it with purpose, and releases it with peace. So the next time life hits you hard, don't ask for the storm to stop. Ask for the strength to stand in it. Don't wish for the pain to disappear. Wish for the wisdom to transform it. Because once you learn the art of emotional alchemy, once you realize you can turn pain into clarity, pressure into power, and struggle into strategy, nothing the world throws at you can shake you again. You become unstoppable, unbreakable, unmoved, and that's when you discover the truth. Pain was never your enemy. It was your evolution. Chapter 7. The Power of Detachment. Freedom through letting go. There's a quiet kind of power that doesn't come from control. It comes from release. Detachment isn't about not caring. It's about caring deeply without losing yourself. The calm conqueror understands that attachment often leads to suffering. Not because love, dreams, or people are wrong, but because clinging to them gives them power over our peace. True strength is found not in holding on tighter, but in knowing when to let go. Detachment is the discipline of the mind that says, I can love you without needing to control you. I can chase my goals without being destroyed by delay. I can desire success, but still be at peace if plans change. It's freedom in its purest form, a freedom built not on distance, but on deep trust. Trust that what's meant for you won't miss you. Trust that endings are often beginnings in disguise. Trust that letting go is not losing, but making room for what aligns. When you attach your happiness to outcomes, people, or things, you give them the power to rule your emotions. You say, I'll be happy when... But the conqueror doesn't wait. He understands that peace is a state, not a reward. He doesn't chase after it. He chooses it. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It means you allow things to flow naturally. If it stays, it belongs. If it leaves, it taught you. You begin to understand that control is an illusion, and peace is the only true possession. Think of water. It flows around obstacles. It doesn't resist. It adapts. That's detachment. Moving through life with grace, unshaken by chaos. When someone leaves, you bless them instead of breaking. When a plan fails, you redirect instead of giving up. When life changes suddenly, you adapt instead of clinging to what was. The truth is, attachment often hides fear. Fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of uncertainty. But detachment comes from faith. Faith that life knows what it's doing, even when you don't understand. It's saying, I trust the timing. I trust the process. I trust myself. In relationships, detachment brings emotional maturity. You stop forcing connection and start flowing with it. You stop chasing validation and start valuing your own peace. You learn to love without dependency, to give without expectation, and to walk away without bitterness. In ambition, detachment sharpens your focus. You still strive, still hustle, still push for greatness, but your identity isn't tied to the result. You no longer chase success to prove your worth. You chase it because it aligns with who you are. That's how you win twice, with purpose and peace. Detachment doesn't make you cold. It makes you calm. It's what allows you to stand in storms and not lose your footing. It's what allows you to face rejection and still know your value. It's what allows you to love without losing yourself. When you let go, life flows easier. You begin to see how everything that left was never meant to stay. How everything that stayed was meant to build you. And how everything that's coming will meet you when you're ready, not desperate. The calm conqueror walks through life lightly, not because he's less, but because he carries less. He's learned that peace is not in possession, but in presence. He's learned that love is not proven through holding, but through allowing. To master detachment is to master freedom. Freedom from obsession. Freedom from fear. Freedom from a need to control every outcome. You realize that what's yours will recognize you. You don't have to chase it. You realize that losing something real is impossible, because what's real never leaves. It simply transforms. And you realize that the only constant you ever truly needed was within you all along. When you reach that level of inner peace, no situation, no person, and no outcome can steal it. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop begging and start attracting. You stop grasping and start glowing. Letting go doesn't weaken you. It frees you. It makes you lighter, wiser, and stronger. It allows you to see life not as something to control, but something to collaborate with. So the next time life asks you to release something or someone, don't resist. Breathe. Accept. Trust. Because detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start understanding. And once you understand this truth, that peace comes not from what you hold, but from what you're willing to let go. You become untouchable. That's the essence of the Calm Conqueror. He holds the world in open hands, never clinging, always flowing. Unattached, yet fully alive. At peace, yet fully driven. He doesn't own everything, but nothing owns him. Chapter 8. Self-control, the silent power that commands respect. There's a power that doesn't need to shout, threaten, or demand attention. It's the kind of power that walks into a room and shifts the energy without saying a word. It's calm, grounded, and untouchable. That power is self-control. Self-control is the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. It's the moment between impulse and decision, that split second where your future is decided not by your emotions, but by your discipline. And the truth is, most people lose everything in that space. The Calm Conqueror doesn't. He knows that mastery isn't about controlling the world. It's about mastering himself. He doesn't let anger speak for him. He doesn't let fear dictate his choices. He doesn't let temptation destroy his direction. He stays in control, not because it's easy, but because he knows chaos has a price and peace has a value. Self-control is what separates the reactive from the powerful. Anyone can respond to provocation, but only the strong can remain unmoved. It's easy to talk when you're angry. It's easy to quit when things get hard. It's easy to react when your ego feels bruised. But it takes mastery to pause, breathe, and respond with intention. Because here's the truth. Control is about suppression. It's about redirection. It's taking that surge of emotion and channeling it into something constructive. You turn your anger into clarity, your pain into precision, your frustration into focus. The Calm Conqueror knows that his emotions are signals, not instructions. They tell him what's happening inside, but they don't decide what happens next. He doesn't resist them. He reads them. He doesn't drown in them. He directs them. That's where true power lies, not in avoiding emotion, but in mastering your response to it. In a world where everyone is quick to speak, quick to post, quick to argue, restraint becomes rare, and rarity becomes respect. Because when you can stay composed when others lose control, people start to sense something about you, a weight, a presence, a depth that can't be faked. You stop chasing validation. You start commanding it. Think about it. How many times have people destroyed relationships, opportunities, or reputations? Not because they lacked skill or talent, but because they couldn't control their reactions? A single word said in anger can burn bridges that took years to build. A single lapse in discipline can undo months of progress. A single impulsive decision can change the trajectory of your life. That's why the conqueror guards his emotions like treasure. He's aware that every outburst costs something. He knows that peace, once disturbed, takes time to rebuild. He practices restraint not because he's weak, but because he's wise. Because the moment you lose control of yourself, you hand your power to whatever provoked you. You become a puppet to emotion instead of a master of it. True control is quiet. It's the man who doesn't retaliate when insulted. It's the woman who stays focused when tested. It's the leader who stays composed in crisis. That quiet control, that steady composure, is what separates those who merely react to life from those who lead it. But here's something deeper. Self-control isn't just about resistance. It's also about alignment. It's choosing to stay committed to your purpose, even when emotions fade. It's saying no to short-term comfort because you're building long-term freedom. It's saying, I'll rest when I've earned it, not because of pressure, but because of principle. Control isn't coldness. It's clarity. It's knowing what truly matters and refusing to trade it for temporary satisfaction. It's walking away when your peace is at risk. It's choosing silence when noise serves no purpose. It's staying humble when pride wants to rise. You see, emotions are powerful, but power without control is destruction. That's why the Calm Conqueror treats self-control as a form of spiritual strength. It's not just mental discipline. It's self-respect in action. Because every time you master an impulse, you remind yourself that you're the one in charge. Not your anger, not your habits, not your ego. And with time, that mastery compounds. You begin to notice how your peace becomes harder to steal, how your focus becomes razor sharp, how people begin to trust your presence because they can feel your steadiness. Self-control builds credibility. It builds respect. It builds legacy. Because the world follows those who have control, not over others, but over themselves. The Calm Conqueror doesn't react. He reflects. He doesn't rush. He responds. He doesn't panic. He plans. He's not emotionless. He's emotionally mature. And when he does speak, act, or decide, his words carry weight because they come from clarity, not chaos. That's what makes him powerful. That's what makes him respected. That's what makes him untouchable. Self-control is not just a trait. It's a lifestyle. It's the armor you wear in a world that feeds on reaction. It's the discipline that allows you to hold peace in the middle of provocation. It's the mark of someone who doesn't just conquer the world, but conquers himself. So when life tests you and emotions rise like a storm, pause, breathe, remember who you are. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You just need to remain in command. Because real power doesn't come from dominance. It comes from discipline. And those who master themselves command the respect of the world. Chapter 9, Emotional Resilience, Rising Stronger After Every Fall. Every storm you've survived has shaped you in ways most people will never understand. Every heartbreak, every setback, every quiet moment where you had to rebuild yourself, they were not punishments. They were preparations. Resilience isn't built when life is easy. It's forged when the world goes silent, when no one claps for you, when everything feels uncertain, and yet you still find a reason to keep going. That emotional resilience, the power to stand again, even when everything in you feels broken. The Calm Conqueror knows that life isn't about avoiding pain. It's about learning how to transform it. Because pain is not the enemy. Pain is a proof that you're still alive, still capable of growth, still in the fight. And when you learn to rise with calmness after the fall, you begin to see something sacred. That peace is not the absence of struggle, but the strength to stay centered within it. Resilience doesn't come from pretending you're fine. It comes from feeling everything, the loss, the confusion, the disappointment, and still choosing not to give up. It's saying, I may bend, but I won't break. I may hurt, but I'll heal stronger. I may fall, but I'll rise with lessons I didn't have before. Because every fall teaches you something that success never could. Failure builds humility. Rejection builds focus. Heartbreak builds depth. Disappointment builds direction. And when you stop resisting those experiences, when you start embracing them as your teachers, you begin to evolve into someone unstoppable. The Calm Conqueror doesn't ask, why me? He asks, what is this teaching me? He doesn't see setbacks as signs to quit, but as signals to grow. He doesn't collapse under pressure. He recalibrates. When the world knocks him down, he doesn't stay down. He rises slowly, quietly, deliberately, because he knows something powerful. Resilience isn't about speed. It's about consistency. Some days, resilience looks like fighting mountains. Other days, it's just getting out of bed and breathing through the pain. Both are victories. Real strength isn't loud. It's patient. It's the quiet commitment to try again. It's showing up even when no one notices. It's choosing faith over fear when everything feels uncertain. The truth is, life will break you more than once. You'll lose people you love. You'll fail at things you believed were meant for you. You'll question your worth, your direction, and your purpose. But every time you rebuild, you'll rise wiser. Every time you let go, you'll rise lighter. Every time you keep faith, you'll rise stronger. Emotional resilience isn't about being untouched by pain. It's about not letting pain define your story. It's about feeling deeply, healing slowly, but never losing sight of who you are. And it's not built overnight. It's built in the process of falling and rising, again and again. Resilience is what allows you to turn your scars into standards, your wounds into wisdom, your breakdowns into breakthroughs. Because one day, you'll look back at what tried to destroy you, and you'll thank it for building the person you become. The calm conqueror doesn't run from pain. He sits with it. He learns from it. He lets it polish him into a stronger version of himself. And soon, he realizes something profound, that everything that was meant to bury him actually planted him, that the same darkness that once scared him became the soil where his strength grew roots. When you build resilience, life's blows don't hit the same. They may bend you, but they can't break you, because now you understand pain is temporary, but purpose is permanent. The storms will come, people will leave, plans will fail, but you will remain. Because you've built your peace on something no one can take, your inner stability. That's the calm conqueror's secret. He's unshaken, not because life is easy, but because he no longer depends on it to be easy. He's anchored in himself, in faith, in purpose. You can take everything from him, money, recognition, comfort, and he'll still rebuild. Because resilience isn't what you have. It's who you become. And when you reach that level of mastery, even your pain becomes sacred. It becomes a story of transformation, a reminder that you've overcome before and you will again. So when life tests you, when the weight feels unbearable, pause, breathe, and remember, you've already survived things that once felt impossible. This, too, will pass. And when it does, you'll rise stronger, wiser, calmer. That's emotional resilience. That's the essence of the calm conqueror. The one who turns every storm into strength, every fall into fuel, and every wound into wisdom. Because the calm conqueror doesn't just survive, he evolves. And that evolution, that unbreakable spirit, is what makes him unstoppable. Chapter 10, The Calm Legacy, Living and Leading with Lasting Impact. At the end of every journey, there comes a moment of stillness, a quiet realization that everything you faced, every storm you've endured, has been leading you here. To this version of you, calmer, wiser, and unshakably grounded. You see, the calm conqueror's life isn't defined by how loud his victories are, but by how steady his spirit has become. He's learned that peace is not something to chase. It's something to embody. It's not a destination, it's a way of being. Mastering your emotions was never about perfection. It was about alignment. It was about finding that center within yourself. The place that doesn't crumble when life changes. The place that stays silent when others shout. The place that stays patient when the world rushes. That center is your calm, and that calm is your power. But now, the mission goes deeper. It's no longer just about managing emotions or surviving chaos. It's about multiplying peace. It's about living in a way that your calm becomes contagious, that your presence steadies others, that your example becomes your message. Because leadership isn't about control, it's about influence. And the calm conqueror leads by vibration, not volume. He leads through the way he listens, the way he handles pressure, the way he treats people who can do nothing for him. He leads through emotional maturity, through discipline that doesn't need to be seen, through kindness that doesn't expect applause. That's legacy. Not fame, not followers, but the unseen ripple your energy leaves behind. Every calm choice you make, every time you choose understanding over reaction, silence over shouting, patience over pride, you leave an imprint on the world. Someone sees you handle chaos gracefully, and they begin to believe they can too. Someone watches you forget what could have broken you, and they begin to heal their own pain. Someone hears your calm voice in conflict, and they learn what strength truly sounds like. That's how the conqueror creates impact. Quietly, consistently, intentionally, because success without peace is just noise. But success built from calm, that's influence that lasts. The calm conqueror no longer competes with others. He collaborates. He no longer chases validation. He radiates confidence. He no longer fears endings. He understands transitions. And that wisdom, that deep-lived emotional intelligence, becomes his greatest gift to the world. Every generation needs examples. People who prove that you can be ambitious and grounded, strong and kind, confident and humble. You are that example. Your calm will inspire others to slow down, breathe, and lead from balance instead of burnout. Your resilience will remind them that struggle is not shame, it's strength and training. Your self-control will teach them that power isn't noise, it's presence. This is how you build a calm legacy, not through possessions, but through presence, not through perfection, but through peace, not through control, but through contribution. Because when you're calm, you think clearer. When you think clearer, you decide wiser. And when you decide wiser, your life becomes your leadership. The calm conqueror's legacy isn't measured in what he owns, but in how many hearts he steadies, how many storms he helps others navigate, how much peace he plants in places once ruled by fear. And that's the ultimate purpose of mastering emotions, not to create a perfect life, but to create a peaceful one, not to be untouched by the world, but to touch the world differently. When people speak of you long after you're gone, let them say, he didn't just talk about peace. He lived it. She didn't just survive life. She taught others how to rise calmly through it. That is the calm legacy. That is your real success. The only one that truly matters. Don't just listen to this message. Live it. Be the calm in every conversation. Be the stability in every storm. Be the reminder that power doesn't need volume. It needs vision. The world is full of noise. Be the stillness that cuts through it. When others react, you remain centered. When others rush, you move with purpose. When others doubt, you stay grounded in faith. That's how you lead. That's how you build impact. That's how you change the world, one calm choice at a time. Because the ultimate victory isn't dominance, it's peace. The ultimate success isn't recognition, it's alignment. And the ultimate conqueror is the one who can hold calm, even in chaos. So go forward, steady, wise, unshaken. Not louder, but deeper. Not faster, but more focused. Not perfect, but at peace. That's your legacy now. You've mastered emotions. You've mastered success. You've become the calm conqueror.